Hi golfers, Nick here for Nick Taylor Golf. It's Friday, so welcome to another lesson on golf tips. This week on golf tips, we're going to take a look at the stack and tilt golf swing in slow motion. In last week's video, we took a look at the driver swing for the stack and tilt golf swing. That's one of my most popular questions on the channel. But also I get asked about playing my swing in slow motion. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at the iron swing. We're going to take a look at it from the front view. So last week we took a look at the driver swing from both viewpoints, and I had a lot of positive comments on the video because it gives you guys a little bit more of a breakdown and insight into my swing and what to look for at certain stages of the golf swing. So in today's video, we're going to break down the 9 positions of the golf swing from the front view and show you guys what to look for in the stack and tilt golf swing. First up, let's just take a look at a standard 7-iron ball flight, and then we'll look at some club data. So this is just a sort of standard stack and tilt golf swing. So standard sort of shot there, just started pretty straight, just slight overdraw, pitched around 172, something like that. So 184 yards with a 7-iron, so pretty good distance, reasonably straight, be sort of pretty happy with that one. Taking a look at some of the club data there. So around about 90 miles an hour club head speed, good contact, 6 degrees into out, face slightly closed to path, gives you that little draw. Launched around 17, so pretty good shot. That would be like my standard 7-iron shot. So we're going to take a look now at the movements in the stack and tilt golf swing using the slow motion. I think it's really important when you're starting to understand this golf swing that there's certain key positions that we need to hit. We've talked about this in various videos, but in today's video we're going to go into a little bit more detail and specifics at certain stages. So the key to the stack and tilt golf swing is being able to make contact with the ball first and then the ground. So a lot of drills I work with golfers are really just trying to control where the low point of the swing is. So setup and impact are very different. So when you look at the best golfers in the world, at impact their hips are turning and push forward. The head's very much in the same place from where it started to impact. The difference is the shoulders are tilting more. The player's starting to come out of the forward bend as they hit the golf ball. Let's take a look at the swing now and break it down into the various stages. So setup is called position 1. So this is as I set up to the golf ball. You'll see how my feet are turned outwards, knees are slightly turned out. I've got my center of my hips and shoulders sort of stacked slightly to the left, the handle slightly forward. You can see I have the ball here positioned just behind the left shoulder on the grid. So I use these grid lines as my sort of ball position. So that would be my sort of standard position at setup. So this is called position 1. The second position we measure is when the shaft is parallel to the ground. So we're going to take a look at this today from the face-on view. And to get to shaft parallel, my knee flex begins to change and my left shoulder begins to move downwards. The left shoulder tilting downwards is very key. I teach a lot of golfers that sort of move their left shoulder across this way. The left shoulder should move down, the knee flex should start to change, and I'm starting to turn my body. You'll see by the time I get to shaft parallel, there's a slight gap here between my hands and my right leg. So this is position 2. Position 3 is when the left arm is parallel. So again, I've continued to move my left shoulder down, I've continued to turn. I'm starting to tilt my head to the left as well at this stage. And by the time I get to this stage here, my head's very much in the circle. My arm's parallel to the ground and the shaft is probably around about 110 degrees of angle. So it's not quite 90, certainly not less than 90. It's around about 110. That would be kind of the checkpoint for left arm parallel. As I continue to the top, this is position 4. So this is when I've turned the most in the backswing. Kind of top of the backswing is P4. So by the time I get to the top of the backswing, I'm turning my shoulders around about 90 degrees. My knee flex is changing. My shoulders have tilted downwards. My left shoulder's moved downwards. My head is tilted to the left. Now, you also notice that my left arm is very straight. My right arm is bent. You can't quite see it from this angle, but there's some bending of my right arm. It's not like bending too much, but there's probably around about 90 degrees of bend in my right arm, but it looks like they're very straight in the arms. It feels like they're straight. It feels like I'm really extending out with my hands here. I'm not breaking it down. That's one of the biggest mistakes I see golfers that start flexing their arms. It's very important you keep the structure of your arms. This is going to help you with your wrist bend. So from P4 to P5, this is quite a key move in the golf swing. What you'll notice is my hips will start to move forward. I'll start to regain some flex in my right knee as I start to turn. Now, if you remember on the backswing at P3, this is a 110. By the time I get to here on the downswing, this is less than 90 degrees. It's going to be around 75 to 80 degrees of angle between my left arm and the shaft. That's me kind of keep hinging my wrist. So I'm coming down and keep hinging my wrist. This is creating some lag in the golf swing. This is really important. I see a lot of golfers that kind of cast the club out, and that loses a lot of power and it affects the low point of the swing. So by the time I get to P5, my hips are pushed forward a couple of inches. I've started to turn and bend back my wrists a certain amount, a lot more than I was in the backswing. Also, my hand path was wider as I went back. It's now narrower as I come down because I'm starting to shift to the left. At the top of the backswing, I have roughly 60% of my weight on the left side. And as I start down, by the time I get to P5, I've got like 70% on the left. Now as I get down to P6, this is when the shaft's parallel to the ground in the downswing. You'll see my hands are kind of over my right leg at this stage. I teach a lot of golfers here that cast the club, have too much weight back. There's a gap here between the shaft and the leg. So by the time we get to P6, my hips have continued to move forward and rotate, and the handle is now over my right leg. So this is quite a key position. This is one of the most important positions in the golf swing. We will look at this from the side view at some point, so we need to look at where the club path is and the club face. But from the front view, we're looking at the weight being forward and the handle over the right leg at this stage. Now from P6 to P7, the handle will actually start to raise up a little bit as I extend my legs and come out of my forward bend of my shoulders. So by the time I hit impact here, the handle's forward. The handle is slightly forward of the club head at impact. The shaft will line up with the arm roughly at left shoulder, which should be like the low point of the swing. So key move, as I discussed earlier, would be set up to impact. You can see how my weight started to move forward, started to come out of my forward bend. I'm starting to tilt my shoulders more as well. So my shoulder tilt increases at this stage as I go through. So that's P7. P8, I'm continually moving my hips forward and rotating. So by the time I get to right on parallel, this is P8. And what you'll start to notice here is that my foot here, the right trail foot here, started to bank inwards. And as I move forward, I'm turning and moving my hips forward. I'm also arching back with my shoulders. So my shoulder bend is slightly backwards here as I extend. This raises the handle of the club away from the ground. This is quite important. As you're coming down to hit the ground, and then as you go through, the handle raises. By the time I get to right on parallel, there's a slight angle here as well. So I'm starting to rehinge the golf club as I go through. It's not quite a straight line, and it's not quite 90 degrees. It's kind of roughly about there. So you'll see there's maybe 120 degrees between my arm and the shaft at that point. So that's P8. I'll continue to turn and move this right foot inwards. Then as I go through to the finish, this is P9, you'll see how my finish stops a little bit shorter. My turning, my shoulders have turned around about 136, and my hips are around 100 degrees. A lot of golfers I see, they overturn, bend the arms as they finish. Now, a lot of the best golfers, they'll maintain their balance. They won't swing too far. A lot of people think that in the stack and tilt golf swing it's a shorter finish, but it's actually in line with where the tour averages are. So let's hit one more. So by doing that, that's going to help me compress the golf ball, hit the ball first, then the ground. It's also going to help me swing around my body and create power. We'll go into this in a bit more detail from the side view in the future, but today I just wanted to show you the front view and the key 9 positions of the stack and tilt golf swing. So that just gives you a little bit of insight into the stack and tilt golf swing from the face-on camera. Hopefully that gives you some ideas for you to help improve your golf. And always suggest videoing your golf swing or getting some help from a stack and tilt instructor. That's really going to help your development. In the future, we'll look at this from the side view, but in the meantime, golfers, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to find out a little bit more about stack and tilt golf swing, check out this playlist, and I'll see you again next week for another video.